Hey, Mediocre Gamer fam, it is I, Anthony Elliott. I'm a little red. I'm here with my best friend in the world, AJ, who is not very red. AJ, how is AJ today?
AJ, as always, is, white as can be when he hasn't been touching grass lately. Uh,
You should touch some grass, my guy.
I need to touch a little grass. I haven't touched much grass lately, actually. It's kind of sad. I was on like a streak of like nonstop doing stuff every weekend and like having stuff to do, and I'm not trying to brag or anything. It's just like to the point where I was like,
Um,
there was not this last week and the weekend before. I was like, no, I was like, I'm not doing anything. Like I'm not. I'm sorry, guys. Like I need a weekend off. It's been like 2 months since I've done nothing for a weekend. Like I just want to chill. And so I did that, and then this last weekend I was excited to maybe go do something again, like, all right, I had that. And then this weekend, no one else is available. And I was like, all right. So now it's been like
funny.
and I work from home. So now it's been like 2 weeks of me, like, not really leaving. So I am ready to
I
get
don't
out of
know.
this room.
I don't know. I would say get a cat. I don't know your allergy situation, but get
Oh,
something
God,
that
I
has to
can't.
walk.
I can't get rid of cats. My roommate has two dogs anyways. So, like, I mean, I always can walk them, like, if I need to. So I can get
You
out.
just don't want. You don't
Uh,
need to. Quote
no, they're
unquote.
not my dogs. I don't. Fuck no, I don't
Oh,
need
okay. That's
to.
valid. That's valid. That's valid. We're not talking about how gamers need to touch grass, everyone. We're talking about how corporate greed is killing gaming. It's a much, much darker topic. Ain't that?
Yeah, yeah. I know it's specifically. We're talking about servers and shutdown, right? Because in this day and age, almost every game is connected to a server, irregardless of whether it's single player or not. And so those servers, no matter what. I mean, even if it's Fortnite, World of Warcraft, League of Legends, these long term games, and EverQuest is still going. That have been going for
Request.
ages. They're eventually going to be shut down. And it's crazy to think of a world where Fortnite is shut down, but I guarantee in 1,000 years we won't have the original Fortnite servers up. I guarantee it.
I mean, I'm not gonna hold you, my guy. In 1,000 years, like the way the planet is set up, I
Yeah.
don't know if humans are gonna be around. Just, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's 85 degrees where I am. It's 70 where you are. I'm jealous and I'm mad. Um, yeah, it's hot. I can tell you that for a fact. It is warm
Yeah.
outside. But on that note, yeah, servers suck, and we should. I don't know what's the. Do we have solutions? I don't know of a solution. I don't know how we
There.
fix where we are.
It's really hard. Like I've seen some people mention like, hey, release the server codes so then people can make their own private servers. But then there's issues with, like people can find their like way into game files and possibly do some
Mm.
illegal stuff there. There's security risks, and then of course the classic corporate greed. They're not in control of their stuff, and if they want to re-release a game, make it new, and they, like let's say it's an online game and they're going to re-release it. Here you go. Well, if the old servers are still up, there's a good chance a lot of people won't buy the new game if they don't have to because they still have the old one. So if those servers are still up, that can hurt future sales.
Yeah. Well, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, no, that's a tough situation because I understand from the corporate perspective of like, hey, we have to protect our assets because that's how we all pay our bills. I
Mm-hmm.
understand. However, comma, at the same time, um, when it goes wrong, it goes terrible. I mean, didn't
Yeah.
Persona 5 just have like a crazy outage or something?
Yeah, so they did. Granted, it was like nighttime here in America at least, which is nice for us, but sucks for the rest of the world. That
Right.
uh, so they have like you have to connect to a server because they have an anti-pirating software called Unovo or something like that. And so they dropped from like 60,000 ish players, if I remember correctly. I'll have it up down to like 600 players because they
That's
couldn't log
fine.
into a single player only game. And keep in mind you, those who haven't played it, the only online feature in the game is and this happened to me twice in my 100-hour playthrough. An enemy can like take your teammate and go like, all right, give me some money or an item and I won't kill them. And if you don't, they kill them. That's it. And the online feature is you can summon someone else's team to come take care of it once per day. That is the online feature that holds it online apparently. Now, again,
That's
we all
kind of
know
like
it's
Dark Souls 3.
it's yeah, kind of. We all know it's due to anti-piracy. That's really why you're online, but like that truly is the only like in-game purpose for it to be online. Like Dark Souls games, Elden Ring, If the servers go down, you can't log in. Every time you start the game, it logs into the servers. Their servers go down, you might not be able to get into Elden Ring, even though it's a completely single player game.
I mean, in that case, I guess you're just gonna have to play Armored Core. Man, okay. Well, Serverpocalypse, everyone. So okay. I guess I gotta be the sunny one because on the offhand, right? Because here's the problem, right? Servers have made our lives very convenient.
Mm-hmm.
And the real conversation is when they go wrong, what's the fail safe? Because there isn't one. And yeah, that's tough, brother.
It's and what sucks is like, and the other thing is like, even if they keep them up for a long time, right? Usually the game will die down in popularity. Like let's look at like like old Call of Duty servers for example. They'll die down in popularity, and so usually it'll get overrun by people with like lag switches, like hacking machines, all this stuff because they have no reason to really stay on top of those servers anymore. So even if you wanted to go back and play some of those old games, it's just a cesspool of just not a lot of fun. So
Just tough.
or if there are, or if it isn't filled with that, anyone who's still playing is just that's all they play because it's what they're still playing Modern Warfare 2 today or whatever it is, and so the only people that are on it are the ones that play it every day, and so it's like going back to those old servers still isn't great. It's not like the old days. It's impossible to get those old days back. They're gone.
Yeah, but I mean, it could still be better because right now it's kind of bad. I mean, prime example, the crew, you kind of can't play it.
yeah, it's crazy. Like I'm fine with shutting down the online servers if they're losing money on it. It's a business. Cool, shut them down. Why can't I play the story missions anymore? Why can't I just drive around against bots? Why is it just gone?
Yeah, I mean, and then it becomes a whole thing of like, well, but you download the file. It's like, yeah, but there's so much DRM that you kind of can't do anything without the permission of Almighty Corporate Overlord. May the great dollar sustain us.
And that's okay. So saying like let's go back to Persona 5, and I know I like to talk about Persona a lot. It's not an excuse to talk about the game, but
no,
like,
yes, it is. It's fine.
but it like what happens when those servers go down? In 30 years from now, when those servers go down, can I never play the game again? Is it just gone? And the funny thing is a lot of it, like I said, Unova is meant to prevent pirating. I could pirate that game within 5 minutes right now if I really wanted to.
But we don't really want to.
No, and we don't condone it. But it's not hard. It's not doing its job. So what's the point?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that reminds me, man, back in high school, I had an art teacher, all right? This is going to tie back to gaming and stealing stuff. I had an art teacher, and this is when Game of Thrones was, like, super popular, and apparently his son, I think his younger son, because he had two, his younger son was super duper stealing, my guy. Like, just, like, downloading whole, like, Game of Thrones episodes and just holding them bad boys on a hard drive somewhere. And it was to the point where, like, Charter or whoever, like, his internet provider was just like, hey, stop. And, like he had to like go to his son and be like listen, can you not steal, please? Like, could you not? Like I know, and apparently his older brother was doing it, but his older brother wasn't the reason that they got a letter. And yeah. And so I said all that to say that is, hey Sony, hey pick one. All of y'all using servers and stuff, that will be y'all. And Matt, Rockstar Games, okay, 2K. Listen, I'm gonna put both freaking ear thingies on right now, dude. Dude, 2K, if you piss off the wrong people, GTA 6 will be an exe file on 4chan, on 8chan, maybe even 16chan. You understand me? If you make the wrong person mad, my guy, you're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah, and I mean those files will be up there regardless. I mean it's gonna happen now. If they piss the wrong people off, it'll happen a lot quicker. Like Cyberpunk's where it was up really fast. And granted, Cyberpunk made it easy. I forget what it's called, but they did something like different with how they released it to make it more friendly for like gamers, but it also is more friendly for pirating. But
I mean, but also Cyberpunk is the exception to so many rules.
Yeah, I still don't condone pirating it, especially now. It's a lot better, but even then, wouldn't condone pirating. But I do agree. There are games that I would say arguably deserve it more, like where it's like, yeah, you definitely shouldn't buy it if you want to experience it. Here you go. Like, you're gonna play about a demo's worth anyways because it's not good. Like, I get that, but does it make it right? Two wrongs don't make it right. But while we're talking about, you mentioned Sony. While we're talking about Sony, they've had an interesting scandal lately with server shutdown. Helldivers 2.
Oh,
you want to go into it? You want to go into it?
I mean, basically, Sony, was it Sony that said it? Was it Sony? Okay, I'm just checking because it's a very Sony thing to do, but just because it makes sense doesn't mean it happened like that. So Sony said, hey, listen, if you're playing Helldivers 2 on your PC, you gotta link your Steam account to your PSN. Why? Because they want your information and they want to know what games you play cross-platform, and the only way to do that is if you link the two. And it's an arbitrary step to play a game that has nothing to do with Sony. Let's start there.
Yep.
And and so I want to say over 170 countries. If you
177 countries in total were
177. Yeah, you just kind of can't play Helldivers 2, which is insane. I didn't think that was an option until when did that happen? Friday? Like within the past 24 hours, 48 hours?
Recent. So what's really interesting is if you already bought the game, you are now out of that $70 you spent. $50? Is it 50 or is it 70?
I think it's 50. I think it's a $50 experience. They really could charge 70, but I think
either way, you're out that $50. Like, you quite literally get fucked. Up until two different things. That at first it really was like you are locked out. You're done. Like nothing you can do about it. That sucks. Steam did come out and offer refunds to everyone who isn't. I think just everyone, but for sure at least the people that were affected by this. Didn't matter if it was past their policy, or like return policy. Didn't matter how many hours you had in the game, you could return it.
Which never happens, by
the way. Yeah, I don't think it's ever happened before with Steam.
I think it's only happened with Cyberpunk 2077.
But that was right away. That was immediately, and even PSN hopped in on that refund. Mm-hmm. That this was
they it off the
because this was essentially a bait and switch from Sony to get those people to buy it and go, okay, now you can't. And even if let's say you're one of those people that are affected, and you wanted to say, oh, I live in the U.S., I'm using a VPN, make an account there, here we go, and link it through that. Well, if Sony then finds out that you lied, they completely lock you out of your account and you lose that game anyways. So you're still running that risk. Yes, it's a lose-lose. So now Steam offered those refunds, which is awesome. And now, as of, I believe, yesterday, as of the time of recording this, Sony has come out and reversed their decision.
Which also never happens. Sony never admits that they're wrong.
No.
Even when they're wrong, like dead wrong, they never admit it.
Yeah.
So for them to do this is giant. So, I mean, good job, gamers. Hey, we won once out of all
Gamer
the times
W, corporate L. That's hey, let's cherish that one. And that's the other thing is people didn't want to give their information to Sony because Sony is not a very secure company. They get hacked every other year.
I mean, every other year is extreme, but at least once a decade, which again for a tech company,
it's more than that. It's 2 to 3 years.
But like twice a decade?
Oh, it's a lot. Like even
2 to 3 years.
Because there's hacks that we don't hear about. Like remember that big hack that happened that shut the servers down for a while, right? Like
how could I forget?
2012, 2013, somewhere in there.
Somewhere like that.
Those same people hacked him a year. So what they did, they hacked him, realized that Sony wasn't going to give him anything. So what they did, how they ended it is they said, okay, here's how we did it. Here's how to fix it. Here you go. We're done, right?
Mm-hmm.
The next year, that same group hacked him again in the same way. So Sony didn't take any of that to heart, didn't fix anything. And they still reportedly haven't fixed that.
Don't hack Sony just for legal reasons.
I mean, look at what just happened in Insomniac. That's owned by Sony. They get hacked left and right.
Wow, yeah, the I forgot all about the Insomniac. Okay.
So people just
You
don't
want to
want to
know
give their
something?
information to Sony. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. Yeah, brother, that's tough. That's bro. I'm sorry. I've been calling everyone brother the past like 3 4 days. I don't know what it is. Like guys, girls, everybody's brother. It's a long story, but yes.
It's all right, brother.
Hell
Uh,
yeah, brother.
hell yeah, brother. So it's just really interesting. I don't know, like
Oh, it's fascinating.
the whole server thing is just it blows my mind just because either way it's a good thing and a bad thing, right? Like the fact that we have these servers
Hmm.
allows us to connect with our friends online, right? Like you and I and our whole generation, everyone now is able to connect with their friends in a way that they couldn't before. You know, like we all hear the stories of our parents. You know, they had friends as a kid that moved away to another state and haven't talked to them since, right? Well,
Hmm.
we are privileged enough to where if a friend moves halfway across the country, you're not locked to just phone calls every few months. You can game with them whenever. You can virtually hang out with them. Fuck, you both
That's
can get
bad.
a Quest and hang out in VR. I don't wouldn't recommend this is the most fun thing to do, but hang out in VR chat and like hang out like in the most real sense that you can while being thousands of miles apart across the globe even.
Hmm.
Uh,
I have a story about connecting online. It's a little gross, but it's also very funny, and I learned something about my
okay.
city. Okay, so I have a coworker. I'm not going to use his real name. Let's call him Luke. Luke is a gay man. There's nothing wrong
Mhm.
with that. Let's start there. Luke was playing Dead by Daylight with another gay man. Okay, that's fine.
One or
And
two.
so, I believe it was two,
Okay.
right? It doesn't matter, but I believe it was two. And Luke said something like, that looks like a blown out asshole." And Luke's friend was just like, "Oh, how do you know what that looks like?" And Luke was like, I don't. What are you talking about?" And then Luke's friend was like, "Yeah, no, like I get on this app and I just let people do that to me, like kind of repeatedly." And we just like, "Excuse me, brother?" And so it's just like, yeah. And so Luke, I don't know why Luke did this, but Luke proceeded to download the app, and I was like, "Okay, Luke, we already call you a whore around the office." And so Luke was just like, "No, no, no, no. I just like wanted to see what the places were." And apparently, there's a bookstore where I live. There's a bookstore that is very unassuming, right? It's just somewhere downtown, and there's a
Uh-huh.
bookstore that you can just go to, and like apparently they have glory holes in the bathroom. It's not like a real bookstore, it's like a front. And so now I'm aware of a booty
Uh-huh.
bookstore because Luke was playing Dead by Daylight 2 with his friend in Detroit from Alabama. See, I told you it was weird.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Do you need time to process?
I'm not judging. This isn't keep in mind, watchers, viewers,
Oh,
Anthony, this isn't judgment, this is shock.
oh yeah, no. And then Luke was like, "Excuse, like you just let people just kind of back to back." He was like, "Yeah, no, I just show up a place and then just let it happen." And then Luke was like, "That's disgusting." And his friend was like, "Why?" And Luke was like, "That's a public health hazard."
Yeah, yeah. No, like I'm all about, you getting your ass blown out if that's what you want, in the privacy of you or other person's,
Wherever.
own home. But
Hmm.
in public, I mean,
In a
like
bookstore.
I'm just, I'm running through my head, like sometimes I do little runs around town where I go like look at the retro game store, and like a lot of them have bookstores close. So like I'll pop in, see there's like a comic or manga or maybe a book. I'm not a big book reader, but see there's one that grabs my attention.
Yeah.
Um, and I just am picturing myself like going like, ooh, there's one on the way. Like I'll stop by that one, and just being it just being a different experience than what I was ready
Yeah,
for.
yeah, no, yeah, no. And then this particular bookstore has like sex toys on the wall and like
Oh,
there's
okay,
like a
so they're
lot,
not like
like it's
discreet.
no, 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 no. It just has a discreet name, but it's not a discreet place.
Oh, okay. I would yeah, see if I
Yeah.
walk into a bookstore and
No,
I
it's
see
not like
dildos on the wall, I like again, you do
yeah.
you, but I'm out. Like I have no
Yeah,
interest.
that would be a problem if you just walked into Barnes and Nobles and you just hear
Yeah.
like the managers getting their back beat.
Yeah, yeah. That's where I'm like, I don't know if this is the kind of bookstore I want to go to.
It's just like, why is everyone just trying to read? Like
Or
there's
like
someone like begging for help.
imagine if you just like you're like with your kid, you're like, hey, let's check out this new bookstore. You walk in, you Cover the eyes. We're gone. We're gone.
It's
Like,
just like, this isn't a bookstore. This is not. It's like, but the sign said it was a bookstore. It's like, the sign is a lying whore, little Timmy.
we're going back to Barnes and Noble.
Going back to Barnes and Noble. This is a gaming podcast, just for all the viewers at home.
Hey! One of these times we could talk about gaming media and books. There's tons of and like comics and all that. There's gaming media to be had there. I have a Zelda manga up there.
I'm finna watch this segue. Watch this segue, okay? Boom. It's gonna sound like I went off the rails a little bit. I didn't watch this. There is this game called El Paso Elsewhere, right? If you've never heard of El Paso Elsewhere, it's basically Max Payne, but with undead and with like weird, chunky, cool graphics, and it's just kind of a vibe. You just shoot undead things in these weird, trippy levels, and it's Max Payne. But it's on Game Pass right now, and it actually just got picked up to have a TV show made about it. It's only been out by like maybe 8 months. It's like a really cool experience. But if by whatever grace of whatever happens, right? If the show comes out and everybody's like, dog, like kind of like with Fallout, it's like, dog, we need to play this game. And then you go to Game Pass, and then Game Pass is like, nah. Right? That would be a whole server issue. And I don't know. Like, that would be like if you watch the Fallout show and then you're just like, man, I think I'm gonna I was gonna say Fallout 4, bad example. I'm gonna go play Fallout 76. And the Bethesda servers were like, I don't know about that one, fam.
Yeah, absolutely. And those servers will be shut down eventually too. And again, like, that's another great example. Like, Fallout 76 has plenty of quests and plenty of stuff to do by yourself. There's plenty of stuff you can do by yourself. But when those servers shut down, I guarantee you that they're not going to let you play any of that stuff solo by yourself. It's going to be done. It's going to be
Imagine.
Done.
AJ, I don't know if you remember this, but Fallout 76 was actually available to buy in stores, right? Now, I know what you're thinking. Why would a online only game that is notorious for not having any physical discs be sold in stores? Well, you bought the case. You open the case up, it was like a little piece of paper that looked like a disc that sat in the disc thingy, and it had the code online. To which everyone asked the question, why waste the money on the production costs to do that?
It's shelf space. It's a way of advertising. It's no different than the Fortnite. It's no different than the Fortnite skin packs that come in the same kind of cases with just a slip of paper.
Yeah. But at least then Fortnite doesn't have physical discs, and it's like, but if you want this particular skin pack, then whatever. It's already going crazy. It's probably not even now.
Why isn't that just on the online store then? Same question.
Exactly.
This has been a thing that kind of thing has been a thing since the PS3 era. They've been doing that for a while. It used to be at least a little cooler, where you would get the case, and then in place of the disc they'd have like a cardboard one that would be designed how they would a regular one, and then they would still have like a manual, and that's where you'd find the code, and like at least there was a little fanfare to it. It wasn't just here's what essentially could be on a receipt, but it has a little bit of color.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, imagine if Sony just erased the Order 1886 from their servers. Can we talk about that game for like a brief moment?
So I have an interesting story about this game.
Please break it down.
So this is the only game I've ever bought like a statue for.
I mean, yeah, because it's a vibe.
I wish the game was better. It had so much potential. Like, and the gameplay. The gameplay was good. Like, it just wasn't long enough.
The gameplay was good, and it was a beautiful looking game. But yeah, exactly. It was like 4 hours long for like a $60 game. It's full price back in the day because we're old children.
If that was at least like a 10 to 15 hour experience, and it was like $40 because at the time games were 60, I think it would have done fantastic because it had the marketing and the notoriety. So. This is back in my more hoodlum phase when I was a little looser with being legal with stuff. And so I had a buddy who would go to Best Buy. And Best Buy, I don't know if they do anymore, but they at least had their price match policy.
Oh, yeah, the price match policy. Yeah.
So what he would do is he would go to Target's website and erase the 6 and put like a 2.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And he'd just Photoshop them, right? And so you go to this like the same chick, he'd make sure it was her because he just knew it'd work. She wouldn't call him out on it. She just like
Right.
it just worked, so he didn't want to try push his luck with anyone else.
Right.
And so he was like, "Hey, let me know if there's any games." I'm pretty sure he had a crush on me, like almost positive. Anyways, so he was like, "Let me know." He's like,
People can skip over that. Okay.
because he's like, "Don't tell anyone else." Like he's like, "No one else knows I do this." He never said he was gay, but and I'm not like not trying to like profile someone, but like he was gay.
Okay. Yeah. He didn't have to tell you.
Yeah, and like he took just a random, and this is in choir class, so we'll add that.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. This is
he had
choir.
Like the hand on the hips with the hands always out like this, or his hands like this. He had a list.
Oh, he
was gay. Like
even if he didn't know he was gay, yeah, he was gay.
He was gay. Yeah. And so I always like he's super friendly. I was like, "What up, dude?" Hung out with him, chat with him. Yes, he was. And so he was like, "Hey, like, just don't tell me." He's like, "I'm willing to do this for you. Like, I just don't want to do it a bunch because I don't want to get caught." But he's like, "There's any game you want?" So the order is coming out, but I was like, I didn't know if I wanted to buy it. I wasn't sure, right. And I was like, "Well, fuck it. If he's gonna do it, already scratch out the price for the regular. Might as well do the collector's edition." Mm-hmm. And so the collector's edition originally was like $110 if I remember correctly, and I bought that sumbitch for $10. So I technically I don't have it anymore. I threw it away. The statue.
Were you just mad that you paid $10 for this game?
No, not at all. It was one of those where it was like big. Like I was like, I'm not gonna display this. The game wasn't that good, and my dad fought back on me for a while. He didn't know how much I spent on it, granted, but like he was like, "Oh, don't throw this away." He's like, with these things, you never know how much they're gonna be. He's like, look at all like this stuff, and I'm like, no, I get what you're saying, and this game,
fuck that, Pop.
This game, this statue is not gonna grow in price. I promise you. No one likes it. He was like, I know, but like, look what happened. Like E.T. on Atari, that grew, and of course now.
No,
this is before they found
so many rules.
Yeah, exactly, and this is before they found all those ones that dumpster, right? So he's like, look at when I'm like, I understand the sentiment, and you're not wrong, but I promise you, this is not going to gain in price. And I looked at it. I was telling my roommate about this like 2-3 days ago. Actually, happened to be talking about this game then too. Looked at the price. That statue's worth like $30 max now, and it's been how many years? It's not going to go up anymore in price at this point.
Close to a decade, actually. Now that's the weirdest fumble ever. The Order 1886 deserves a sequel.
It's not going to happen, but it does.
About something different. It deserves at least a 20-hour experience. Like,
what's really cool about the Order 1886 though, at least.
What?
It's not tied down to a server, so I can play it till the end of time as long as my console's alive.
Exactly. It's kind of like the thing that happened with Spec Ops: The Line. You remember that situation with Spec Ops: The Line?
Yeah.
For those of us who don't know, Spec Ops: The Line kind of got delisted from stores. But the reason it got delisted from stores is very, very interesting. The licensing agreements for that game expired. I think it was probably like, I don't know, probably something to do with the engine, probably something to do with the lighting, whatever the case was. It expired. It's like, oh, we can't sell this because how are we gonna know who gets paid? We've just been paying them for like a decade. And yeah, they delisted it. But if you still have your physical disc copy on the Xbox 360, then you're good to go, buddy.
Which you can always get a used one. They're not too expensive. I mean, it wasn't that popular of a game. I'm sure the prices have gone up a bit since I last looked.
Yeah.
But still not horrible. Really, the last thing I want to really touch on with the server shutdown is stores, e-stops shutting down, online stores shutting down, all that. We've seen Nintendo shut down the Wii U and 3DS eShop about a little over a year ago now, I believe.
A little over a year ago, yeah.
About a year ago at this point,
so sad. It's hard to describe how big the Nintendo eShop was on the Wii and Wii U. It's hard. Like, I need you to understand, if it weren't for the eShop, the Wii U would have been a failure and Nintendo might have went bankrupt. That's not an exaggeration.
No, absolutely. And it sucks because there's no way to go back, and there's a lot of games that are lost forever to time unless they get remade or you want to download them illegally.
We're not recommending you do that.
We don't recommend that, but it does suck that that's the only way. Like, I'm not. There is no legal way. There is no legal way right now. unless you buy
There is no
someone's
legal
Wii U
way.
or 3DS that already happens to have it on it. There is, and you're gonna have their save data, and that's assuming they don't wipe it because that means they left their information on there. So, like, like any game shop, at least in my area, they wipe it every time because of that. Because of that, so if you're not, you have to almost get lucky and hope that they keep it on there. And I'm sure there's some people that do manually take their information off, and keep those up and sell those consoles for a little more. But I bought my Wii U and 3DS in kind of a rush decision because I wanted to go through those eShops before they were gone. Because I was starting to really get into collecting not too long before those shut down, and so it made me like rush into it. And I didn't get all the games I wanted to buy, but because I was already dropping like $300 in total across all of them in just software before even the console prices, so it was just starting to get really expensive all at once. And even now, I'm like, dang, I wish I got them earlier so I could have gotten the other games that are lost to time. I now no longer can experience those in a legal way, and I want to experience them in a legal way.
Yeah, I really, something. Here's something Nintendo needs to experiment with, because it's not like they just rolled the eShop over to like the Switch
No.
store. I don't know what it's called. Because those are two different things. They're just like, we're just gonna get rid of it. That would be a different thing. Nobody would care if they rolled over to the Switch store. Everybody would probably celebrate like intensely. But okay, this is gonna be a mini tangent.
Yeah.
Okay, Mad World on Nintendo Wii, the weirdest game ever to be on the Nintendo Wii.
Yeah.
Okay, Mad World 2 on the Switch, or even just Mad World on the Switch. Period. AJ, I don't think you understand the true joy I would feel.
Yeah, I don't think it'd have quite the same impact, but I would still be extremely happy. And the only reason why I say it wouldn't have the same impact is a lot of Mad World's main appeal on the Wii was like the Wii's only gruesome game on the family console. Don't be wrong, the Switch is the most family console there is currently. I would argue the Wii is more family console oriented, especially the Wii U. That was like their only angle. But the Switch does have plenty of mature games on it. It's not its pull, but it makes me think that it wouldn't do quite as well on the Switch as it did on the Wii because of that.
Maybe not, but like a Mad World are you telling me a Mad World remake where you grab a guy and throw him in a meat grinder as like a combo? Like, teenagers everywhere would shit bricks, brother.
Oh, absolutely. All the edgy teens would be all over that.
Dude, you never played Mad World?
I agree. Like, I want it back too. That's not me knocking it. I just don't think it'll have the same impact. But there's like the PS4. You mentioned it rolling over, right? The PS4 shop, like that could shut down today, and I don't think too many people would really care. I mean, okay, a little early for that. A little early because there's still plenty of people that don't have a PS5. But the
PS3 shop, literally nobody would care.
I see, and that's where I argue that because that shop hasn't rolled over. There are games that are only on there that you can't get on PS4. So when that shuts down, no different than Wii U. You would have said that no one would have cared about the Wii U shop before it shut down, and not everyone, but a lot of people cared. Same with the PS3.
I'll give you that.
A lot of people will care once it's shutting down. Now, when it comes time for the PS4, no one has a reason to care because you can play those games on PS5, and possibly it'll roll over into PS6. I mean, we have to see how they'll do that.
Not only that, it'll be a better experience. Yeah, okay, I'll give you that because like The Last of Us was on the PlayStation 3, and for a stupendously long time, you were playing the PlayStation 3 version on the PlayStation 4. Did it even hit the PlayStation 4 like in like a real remastered way?
Nah, not really. I mean, eventually it had. Like the PS5 version is definitely like a big
that's the
step
best
up,
one.
but
that's undeniable.
But like there's plenty of PS3 games that have not made their way over to PS4 and PS5 because they made PS3 really hard to develop for on purpose. I don't know if you know this or if the gamers know, like the listeners and watchers know this. PlayStation coming into the PS3 just dominated the PS2, and so they thought anyone will buy the PS3. No matter what, everyone's going to buy it. It's going to win. And so they made it more expensive and harder to develop for, so developers will only develop for PS3, and it'll essentially kill off Xbox right away and damage Nintendo too.
Yeah.
That didn't work out, and now it's hurting them in the long run, because that's why, like, you know, you notice all those PS3 games that you get with PlayStation Premium or whatever, PlayStation Plus Premium, they're all streamed. The only ones that you download natively are remastered for PS4 because it's not compatible. So PlayStation essentially fucked themselves during the PS3,
Yeah,
and so that's what makes the PS3 eShop eventually going out a big deal, because those games will be lost to time, and they're even that much harder to bring back. So that, I would argue, will be one of the biggest eShop, and not to shut what you said down earlier, but I think that'll be one of the biggest closures out of all of them.
Yeah, because and then the PlayStation 3 was like, if it was on the PlayStation 3, it was like either very original or very weird. Like, I remember before, leading up to the PlayStation 3, maybe right after PlayStation 3 came out, there were so many tech demos that were just flat out lies, dude. Oh my gosh. I was so excited. They were like hardcore. Like, do you remember, I think it was, I don't even know, it was like Kane and Lynch, but not Kane and Lynch, where you play as like two dudes and like trying to rob this bank or whatever, and you're like shooting these guys, and like there's a whole thing where they both take cover next to each other, and they swap their guns by throwing them and like catching them midair, and then like they get on like the thing, and like they're lifting the safe up, and they're like smashing. I'm like, dude, the future of gaming is 2008, my guy.
Yeah. Or look at
Obama's getting elected.
Look at the Killzone 2. We talked about previously. The Killzone 2 like trailer, where they made it look like gameplay, knowing full well that the game wouldn't look like that.
But like, honestly, I missed that, and I understand that like it's bad because but I genuinely truly miss when game companies were like, we need this sale by any means.
I agree with that. The more companies are in that desperate, aggressive, we need to make the sale, the better. That means there's competition. That means they're healthy. That means they're trying. You know, I think Sony right now is way too comfortable. They've taken their foot off the gas. Way too comfortable. I mean, Stellar Blade just released, and Helldivers has been good, but like, I still think they've been a little too light on the gas pedal.
They have. I mean, we're in the middle of a year. We did a whole podcast episode, the middle of a year, where Sony has no first party releases. That I don't think that's happened since the PlayStations existed. And so I mean, so we got El Paso Elsewhere just getting a TV show on Game Pass right now. I'm sure that's gonna see a bump not too long from now. You got Stalker 2, which again we haven't seen anything on. It comes out in September, but if that game is the game we all want it to be, it's the Fallout in Russia that we all really need.
Yeah.
And literally also all Sony had to do was literally anything. Like, give me a game where I play as a squirrel and I run around the neighborhood and I have to deal with different squirrel politics, and like there's a combat system, not squirrel with a gun, don't say it. Dude, I just run and I fight. It's like Watership Down, but with squirrels, and I can run from fights and run across buildings and stuff. Matter of fact, Sony, this is how you win the console wars right now. AJ, we were talking about this before the pod, okay? In light of recent rap beef between one Kendrick Lamar and Aubrey Drake Graham, I think a new Def Jam game, or you don't even have to call it Def Jam, just a new game where you play as rappers doing impossible fighting combos and doing impossible things. You win right now.
Yeah,
call it Hip Hop Civil War, where Drake is like a final boss if you go through a certain story, and Kendrick's another boss if you go through another story. Everybody gets a percentage. Everybody wins. Everybody's happy. Sony, if that was a Sony exclusive, dude, be eating good.
I mean, that would be so sick. I mean, a licensing nightmare, so sick. And if you do make a game like that, Sony, please don't require online. So if you lose the license, we aren't hosed as gamers to play a game that we paid for.
Yeah, like, okay, and this is to anybody who would sign that paperwork. Just get your NIL, name, image, likeness deal, just in perpetuity. Don't have it be like, after 15 years we'll be forced to review. Like, no, shut up. In perpetuity, get your little 1%, whatever you get, and just live life, be happy. Just get you a Mazda or something that's gonna last you a while in case you go broke. I'm not saying it will, but just in case. And yeah.
So here's my final message. My final message to developers, publishers, console developers, all of you. I understand nothing can be done about online multiplayer games and server shutdown. That is just the fact of it. You know, like we said, there's the pros and cons, and so I get that. But for your single player games, please make it possible where once you decide to shut those servers down, I understand you having servers initially to help prevent pirating. Fine, cool. Once you shut those servers down, make those games playable. I mean, Ubisoft, come on, with the crew. Really? Like, I understand it's not a recent game and that money's been gone for a while for those gamers, but it sucks that money is now still permanently gone. They can never go back to a game they cherished. You have ruined that for them. So please, all future companies, make them playable.
In the arms of the angels. Woo! And on that note, that was funny.
That was great.
I'm proud of myself.
That was.
Oh shit! Thank you.
Yeah.
I didn't practice at all.
I could tell.
We love you. Thank you. Yeah. Of course you could. You know me so well. That we love you. We will see you next week. Like, comment, subscribe. We do this every week. AJ, you have anything? You have a final thought you'd like to share?
Yeah, as always, guys, thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate every single one of you. Me and Anthony love you guys. Like he always says, we talk about you guys every week. We, to be a little more specific, we do release episodes every Monday at 7 a.m. So please, if you guys are still here, please tune in at Monday at 7. You know, listen to us on your ride to work. Listen to us while you work. You know, get us in the comments and on social media. We love to keep having the conversation rolling after these videos have released. With that, guys, stay mediocre.